Alright, so here we have sketching the graphs of modulus function. Sketching the graph of modulus function is not like sketching a regular graph. Alright, there are different steps that you're going to have to do to sketch the graph of a modulus function. Alright, because you have to bear in mind the properties of modulus function. So here are two examples. So let's look at example 1. Example 1 tells us that y is equal to the modulus of x plus 3 minus 5. In order to sketch this modulus graph, what we're going to have to do is, well, we're going to have to say, alright, we're going to have to sketch this part next and then subtract 5 from that graph. Alright, but how do we sketch the modulus of x plus 3? What you do is start with sketching the graph of the line x plus 3. Now, so step 1 is you would sketch the graph of the line x plus 3. So x plus 3 is a line that passes through positive 3. So this is the graph of the line x plus 3. So that's the first step, that's step 1. Alright? That's the first step. Now what is the modulus function? The modulus function is a function such that it is never negative. It is never negative. It is never negative. It is absolutely never negative. So right here where we have the modulus of x plus 3, here, so this portion of the graph is below. So right here is what is known as a critical point. At x equal negative 3, right, you get the modulus of the thing is equal to 0. So this right here is negative 3, that point. Now, everywhere else, what happened? Negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. What's the modulus of when x is negative 6? You get negative 6 plus 3. When x is negative 6, you get negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. And the modulus of negative 3 is positive 3. So, for every values after negative 3, we're going to have to flip the function above the x-axis. So yes, that's a property of modulus function. It flips the part of the graph that is below the x-axis above the x-axis. And so this part, we throw this away. That's the second step. So then this would be the graph of y equal to the modulus of x plus 3. But then what does it ask for? It asks for the modulus of x plus 3 minus 5. So that means we then subtract 5 from this graph. And so subtracting 5 from this graph, so this is the point, this is the line 0. So minus 5 we can put right here. This is minus 5. So then this would be the modulus graph. This would be the graph now. This would be the graph. A sketch of this is now y equal to the modulus of x plus 3 minus 5. Because we then move the graph down by 5. So that's the graph of y equal to the modulus of x plus 3 minus 5. So that's the first example. So let's do the same now for the second example. Alright, so for the second example, what we're going to have to do is this one, 6 minus the modulus of x minus 1. So you're going to start with x minus 1. So the line x minus 1 would look something like this. X minus 1, it passed through the point negative 1. Passed through the point negative 1. Again, where the graph cuts the x-axis, right here is known as a critical point. And the critical point occurs when x equals 1. Because when x is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. Now every other value is right here. This is the line x equals 1. So then we remove this part of the graph and reflect it above the x-axis. So reflect it above the x-axis. Now this this part is now y equal to the modulus of x minus 1. Now look what the question wants. It wants 6 minus the modulus of x minus 1. So if this is the graph of y equal the modulus of x minus 1, then the modulus of minus of the modulus of x minus 1, we're going to have to flip it back below the x-axis. So flip the entire graph below the x-axis. So we can remove this part now. And so then this now is the graph of y equal to minus the modulus of x minus 1. So that's the graph of y equal to minus the modulus of x minus 1. And then it wants 6 minus the modulus of x minus 1. And so that means we're going to move the graph up by positive 6. We're going to move the graph up by positive 6. So move it up to here and then sketch the graph. And so then this is the actual graph we want. This is the graph y equal to 6 minus the modulus of x minus 1. Alright, that's how you sketch the graph of modulus function. Another way to sketch the graph is by plotting points. So you can plot points, yes, plot the points. I highly don't recommend that because when they're only going to ask you for a sketch, right? You can plot points. Plotting points mean, let's say you're going to use a range. You're going to use a domain like x being between -2 and 2, right? Then you start from when x is -2. You put in -2, you're going to get a y value. Alright, so let's do it. Let's try it the plotting way. Right? Let's say we're going to plot the points instead of doing it this way. Let's say we're plotting between that range. Right? So we have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. When x is -2, the corresponding y value will be -2 minus 1 is -3. The modulus of -3. What's the modulus of -3? 3. So we get 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. So the corresponding y value is 3. Let's say 3 is right here. So the corresponding y value is 3. When x is -1, we get -1 minus 1. -1 minus 1 is -2, and then the modulus of -2 is 2, and then 6 minus 2 is 4. So the corresponding y value would be 4. So let's say this is 4. So the corresponding y value is 4. When x is 0 now, we get 0 minus 1, which is -1. The modulus of -1 is 1, and then 6 minus 1 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. So then this becomes 5. And so 0 go with this point 5 right here. Then when x is 1, what we're going to get is 6. You can already see 1 minus 1 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. When x is 1, we get 6. Now when x is 2, we get 2 minus 1 is 1. Then 6 minus 1 is 5. So you go back to 5. Clearly, if we continue, this is the highest point, because once it go right there, it's just going to continue going down. And so we still get the same graph that we were getting, right? The graph that looks something like this. So this would be the graph, right? And so this is another way you can sketch the graph by plotting the points. Of course, this must be a straight line, but I'm not using any straight edge. But you should make sure that it's a straight line, right? And so that would be the graph of the modulus function. So remember, it's a straight line. Don't worry about my drawing being lean. It should be a straight line. Yeah, man, it should be a straight line. But that's it. That's how we draw a modulus graph. Alright?